Hi, everybody. Welcome back. It's another episode of Jake Talks Star Wars, and today we're taking a little break from Star Wars Visions. We've been talking about Star Wars Visions for almost a week now, but I wanted to go over a little bit of a book review for Master and Apprentice by Claudia Gray. I read this over the last couple of weeks, and I really enjoyed it. It's a lot of fun. It features Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan, as you can tell from the title, and it reminds me a lot of, an adult version of the Jedi Apprentice novels, the Jedi Apprentice books that I read as a kid. Like after Episode 1 came out, there was a whole series of Jedi Apprentice novels that came out that was about Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan like going on adventures and things together. Which I really enjoyed. I liked that a lot. And it started from like a very early age when Obi-Wan was still in the temple and then kind of continued on. It was a lot of fun. I really liked it. And the book itself kind of is set, I would say, a few years, maybe a few years before Phantom Menace. And the whole action kind of revolves around, well, and spoiler alert, right? Definitely spoiler alert. This book came out a few years ago, so if you haven't read it yet, it's been out for a while. I think it was published in, what was it? Yeah, 2019. So I'm reviewing a 6-year-old book, almost 6-year-old book. But yeah, it's the action kind of centers around Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon going on a mission to this planet after Qui-Gon has been offered an invitation to the Jedi Council. He was offered an invitation to the Jedi Council, which he apparently is just as surprised as everyone else, because the book kind of goes over a lot of the, I want to say, drama between him and the Council, and a lot of the disagreements between him and the Council, how he feels the Council isn't doing the right things and isn't making the right decisions and isn't doing right by the Force. We learned that Yoda actually voted against Qui-Gon being added to the Council. He was one of the dissenting votes for adding Qui-Gon to the Council, we learn in this book. But that's kind of the centerpiece of this anxiety between Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon. And it's really interesting because they go to this planet where this other Jedi, Rael Averross, has been acting as the head of state, basically, for this planet for like a decade at this point, I think. I think it's about a decade, because there's a young queen who is supposed to be in charge, but she's not of age yet, and so the planet allowed the Republic to send a Jedi to basically rule in her stead as like an outsider, and also to kind of teach her the ropes and things. And so Rael Averross has been on this planet, but now they're starting to run into problems. There's like terrorism going on, there's some kind of attacks going on, and Rael Averross wants help from the Council, and apparently he is a very non-traditional Jedi. He is kind of slovenly. He's kind of he reminds me. He's kind of slovenly the way he talks about it. He frequents bars and he frequents houses of ill repute. He frequently has relationships with women, like physical relationships with women, which is not banned by the Jedi Code, right? But it's kind of frowned upon, and people are kind of like, this is a little bit strange. This is not something we are feeling okay about. So he's got a lot of kind of isms to himself that make him very unique. But him and Qui-Gon have history. They have a lot in common, because we learn that Rael Averross was Count Dooku's first apprentice. So he is Dooku's first apprentice, and then Qui-Gon is his second apprentice. And so that is terribly interesting, because we get some flashbacks to what it was like for Qui-Gon and Dooku together as master and apprentice. get some flashbacks to Qui-Gon as a Jedi Knight training an apprentice, but we also get flashbacks to like a teenaged Qui-Gon looking up to Rael Averross, and Averross treating him kind of like a little brother, right? You get that that vibe of like, oh well, hey, oh, we have the same master, you know. Oh, let me tell you, oh, Dooku's fine. He's this, he's that. This is just the way he is. You two will get along eventually. So you get that big brother, little brother vibe from them, which is really interesting to see and to kind of see that unfold. But it's also so interesting because Averross is so polar opposite to how we see Dooku portrayed, right? Because how we've seen Dooku portrayed on screen, he's elderly, he's stately, he's very serious, he's very, very precise, he's very clean, right? And again, I'll use that word again, stately. We see a lot of that in him. We see the same thing of him as a Jedi. He's very serious. He's a very serious person as a Jedi. He's very not self-important, but he's that kind of guy who walks into a room and you don't slap him on the back, right? He shows up at the barbecue, you don't slap him on the back and tell him a joke, right? He's not that kind of guy. Rael Averross totally is, but Dooku is not, which is kind of interesting. We see a lot of backstory with Qui-Gon learning about prophecy from Dooku, and Dooku being fascinated with prophecy, and Qui-Gon kind of inheriting that from Dooku as well. So that's really interesting. But the whole story kind of revolves around this relationship between Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan, and how it's very strained, because much like Averross and Dooku are very not alike, neither are Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan. Like, Qui-Gon is willing to break rules, is willing to go against the grain, is willing to go against what the council says. Obi-Wan is not, right? Obi-Wan is a rule follower, A1, number one rule follower. So that was really, really interesting to kind of see that unfold. And then, of course, there's the trust aspect, where Obi-Wan never feels like he's good enough. He never feels like his master thinks very highly of him, and never feels like he's doing all the things that he should be doing, or that he's getting enough praise and anything else, which is typical of a teenager, which is typical of a young person, right? Young people need that reassurance, and they need that self-assurance. And what's really interesting too, as the book kind of progresses, Obi-Wan thinks this is it. He thinks this is the end of their relationship, that he's going to get a new master. So he starts to like kind of let Qui-Gon have both barrels, right, of his opinion, and really lets things out. And I think that what that does is that strengthens their bond even more. So really, really great book. I really enjoyed it. I liked reading it. I'm probably going to read it again here, maybe in a few months, because I really liked seeing the relationship between Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan, and seeing how their relationship evolved. And then seeing that also through the lens of another person who Qui-Gon is friends with, who he is close with, who he has close ties with back to his childhood, who he looked up to as a mentor, even if Rael Averross wasn't Qui-Gon's master. Qui-Gon looked up to him as a mentor for sure. So that's really interesting as well. And I can't go over all of it, right? But great read, definitely a lot of fun. Really interesting view into Dooku's life as well, and into what Dooku was like as a Jedi, and the kind of influence he had. At the end, we see a little snippet of Dooku trying to recruit Rael Averross into whatever he's doing, because at this point Dooku has already left the Jedi Order for his own reasons. And nobody seems to mind, right? Everyone's like, oh, he left for his own reasons, he's this, he's that. But nobody's like upset, or nobody's raising any alarms over it. It's not like this major emergency. It makes ripples, but it's not like the guy is persona non grata. We know that's not the case. So that was interesting to kind of see as well. But definitely a great read. Definitely worth checking out. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I blew through it, I think, in about a week, just reading when I could here and there. So worth checking out. Master and Apprentice, Claudia Gray. So we've got more book reviews coming. I'm reading, what am I reading right now? I'm reading Sith Lords right now, about Darth Vader and Emperor Palpatine going on a road trip to Ryloth. So I'm reading that right now, and that's a lot of fun. I'll probably finish that here in a little bit and do a review on that. And we do have a new Star Wars novel coming up later this month on November 11th about Darth Vader. I'm probably going to have to order that so I can review that pretty quickly and get that out as well. Also because I'm just kind of on the Darth Vader kick. I'm reading Sith Lords now, so I'll grab that and be able to read that shortly thereafter. So that should be fun. But yeah, guys, worth checking out, Master and Apprentice. Definitely a good read. Get it if you can. And thanks for coming by. Thanks for listening. Let me know what you think. Have you read Master and Apprentice? Have you read this novel? Have you read other novels like it that I should check out? Let me know what you think in the comments below. Hit me up on Threads or on Instagram as well. And again, thanks for coming by. Thanks for listening. I hope you guys have a great day. And remember, as always, take care of each other out there, and may the Force be with you.